And welcome back. Despite an increase in mortgage rates last month, historically low inventory levels for existing houses helped boost new home sales in May. Also, home builder confidence has increased every single month this year, but builders are not out of the woods just yet because they're still sitting on a high amount of new houses for sale. This is based on a brand new report from the US Census Bureau, and in today's video, I'm going to share all the details. And before we get started, if you guys appreciate all the research that goes into making these videos, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, because I post frequent housing market updates. Also, if you guys want a real estate agent referral, then go to homeandmoney.com/Jason to get started today. With that said, I have a lot to share in today's video, so let's go ahead and dive right in. This report was just announced this morning, which is Tuesday, June 27th, for new residential home sales for the month of May. And by the way, this is only for single-family houses in the US in today's video. Also, a friendly reminder, the US Census Bureau defines a new home sale as when a sales agreement is signed between a home buyer as well as a home builder. It says it right here. A deposit taken or a sales agreement signed, and this can occur to a permit being issued. So a new home sale can be for a dirt lot in which the home builder is not going to build it for 6 to 12 months from now. All right, let's talk about the number of new houses that sold and also housing inventory. And of course, I'm going to talk about a lot of different metrics such as home prices as well. So let's first talk about the number of houses that sold. Again, contracts being signed, really acting more like a pending home sale rather than a closed home sale. And by the way, these figures right here are seasonally adjusted and also annualized. So for the month of May, a giant increase of 12.2% compared to April, and also a big increase compared to 1 year ago. 20% increase compared to May of 2022. Absolutely astounding here. At 763,000, again, season adjusted and also annualized. This is actually well above the forecast of only 675,000. And here's that forecast right here. The forecast, 675,000. It came in well above expectations at 763,000, which is pretty eye-opening given the fact that rates were actually increasing in May. So in April, rates on average, according to Freddie Mac, were at 6.34%. Then for the month of May, they increased slightly to 6.43%. Now keep in mind, 1 year ago, average rates for the month of May 2022 were at 5.23% for an average 30-year fix for people with great credit, of course. And now they have surged to 6.43%. But despite this increase in rates, home sales increased by 20%. In my personal opinion, there's two main reasons why we're seeing a huge increase in new home construction sales. Again, contracts being signed compared to 1 year ago and also from last month. And that's right here. Because I believe that this is due to historically low levels of existing houses and also home builders still buying down rates for home buyers right now. So as you guys all know, I talk about this on channel all the time. We have approximately 50% fewer homes for sale for existing houses when looking at pre-pandemic levels. However, though, for inventory levels for new home construction, we have a very high amount of homes for sale. So it appears that home buyers are moving towards buying new home construction due to the lack of houses for sale in the existing market or resale market, and also because builders are still offering incentives to home buyers. And I actually have an article to share with you guys regarding that. This is from the National Association of Home Builders. And they reported just, last week that approximately 25% of home builders reduced home prices in order to increase sales in June. Also, the share was 27% in May. So approximately 27% of home builders reported they reduced their asking prices in order to increase sales in May. Also, for the month of May for builder incentives, that was at 54%. So more or less half of the builders are offering incentives to home buyers in order to increase sales this May. There's a couple more things I do want to touch on regarding the number of new home sales this May at 763,000. This is actually the highest levels going back to February of 2022. In addition to that, this is actually a look at the past 5 years. In addition to that, at 763,000, this is actually above pre-pandemic levels when we had around 700 to around 721,000. In addition to that, there's some very big variances here regarding each of the 4 major regions as well. So let's talk about month-over-month changes here. So the Northeast new home sales increased by 17.6% compared to this April, whereas the Midwest only increased by 4.1%. The West increased by 17.4%. And also in the South, it increased by 11.3%. So fairly big increases on a month-over-month basis, except for the Midwest, for example. When looking at year-over-year changes, very, very big changes here. So the West actually decreased by 0.6%, whereas the Northeast, for example, increased by 110.5%. Also huge gains in the Midwest, up by 40%, and the South increased by 22%. One thing you guys definitely should be aware of, though, is that this increase in the South by 22% really led the increase overall by 20%, because in the South, there was 471,000 new home sales versus only 77,000 in the Midwest and only 40,000 in the Northeast. Okay, let's change gears slightly here and talk about housing inventory for brand new home construction here. I first want to talk about the definition that the US Census Bureau has regarding the number of houses for sale or housing inventory. And here it is right here. A house is considered for sale when a permit to build has been issued in permit issuing places, or work has begun on footings or the foundation in non-permit areas, and a sales contract between a buyer and home builder has not been signed. So in other words, the number of houses for sale could be for a dirt lot in which the builder is not going to be building the house for 6 to 12 months from now. It could be a house under construction, or it also could be a completed house as well. I think it's very important to make that distinction, because we're not just talking about 428,000 completed houses that are for sale. This could be a lot of houses that are under construction, or just dirt lots, for example. And I'll share the breakdown regarding that here in just a little bit here. So for a new single family houses for sale, there was 428,000. By the way, that's seasonally adjusted, but not annualized. 428,000, down by about 1% compared to last month, and down by 2.9% from 12 months ago. So let's have a look at our good Uncle Fred's website here regarding new single family houses technically for sale. Again, it could be a dirt lot though, right? So inventory levels have been decreasing ever since November last year, when there was 455,000. Now again, there's 428,000, much lower than 1 year ago at 441,000. When we zoom out here though, this is where it really gets interesting here. And that's why I say we have still a high amount of homes for sale, even though it has been decreasing ever since November last year. Because at 428,000, when looking at pre-pandemic levels, this is the highest levels going back to June of 2008. On top of that, this is also much higher compared to May of 2019, for example, when at that time there was only 337,000 homes for sale. Now there's nearly 100,000 more than that. Okay, let's also talk about the month supply as well, because for the month of May, there was 6.7 months supply. 1 year ago, there was 8.3. That's a decrease of 19.3% year over year, and a decrease of 11.8% compared to April. Also, as a note right here, this month supply of 6.7 months is much lower than the record high of 12.2 months that we saw back in January of 2009. Also, in contrast though, at 6.7 months, this is still much higher than the all-time record low of 3.3 months set back in August of 2020. Also, historically speaking, it's more normal to see the month supply in the range of 4 to 6 months. And here's a look at our good Uncle Fred's website here. At 6.7 months, of course, well below the 10.1 months we saw back in July 2022. But at 6.7, much higher than the all-time record lows that was set back in August 2020, as well as October 2020 as well. But looking at the past 10 years right here, it's more normal to see the month supply in the range of 4 to approximately 6 months. Let's also discuss home prices as well, because for the month of May, it was $416,300. 1 year ago, back in May 2022, the median sold price was $450,700. That's a decrease of 8% year over year. Obviously, it's a positive sign if you're looking to buy a new home to see prices overall nationwide decrease by 8%. However, though, I always have to mention this, when comparing this to 3 years ago, back in May 2020, the median sold price is still up by 31%. That's because back in May 2020, it was only $317,100. Now it has surged to $416,300. It is down from the peak of approximately $500,000 that was set back in October 2022. However, though, the surge in prices over the past 3 years is quite remarkable, to say the least. The Census Bureau also breaks it down by the number of houses that are for sale and also that sold by stage of construction. Let's first talk about the number of homes that sold. Look at this. Overall, nationwide, 763,000. Again, seasonally adjusted and also annualized as well. The vast majority of those houses that sold were actually under construction, 298,000, and also 270,000 completed houses as well, much higher than the 188,000 from 1 year ago. They also saw a big increase in the number of houses that sold that were not yet started. In other words, dirt lots. 195,000 versus 108,000 1 year ago. In regards to the number of homes for sale by stage of construction, again, overall 428,000. The vast majority are houses under construction, 259,000 versus 308,000 1 year ago. And also for not yet started, 100,000 homes for sale that are not yet started. And just for comparison's sake, the all-time record high was 102,000 that was set back in October last year. So at 100,000 this May is actually just less than the all-time record high that was set last year. Now here's something that really caught my attention. So there's approximately 69,000 completed houses for sale. These are houses already built in which the home builder wants a buyer to be moved in right away, right? So 69,000 completed houses for sale. This is more than double the all-time record low of 32,000 that was set just a little bit over 1 year ago. Also, 69,000 is very close to historical averages as well. The reason why this really caught my attention is that when I made these videos for you guys every single month last year, I said really follow this column right here, because if this number right here were to absolutely surge, in other words, we've had a giant amount of houses completed in which the builder wasn't able to sell those, that would be a very, very big flag, or red flag, I should say. Because last year, those numbers were increasing fairly fast, even though they were historically low levels, because a little bit over a year ago, the all-time record low was around 32,000. But last year, we saw a steady increase every single month for completed houses for sale. However, though, ever since December last year, this has been relatively flat. So relatively flat for about 6 months now, which really is a sign that home builders are able to sell completed houses. As you can see right here, the number of houses that sold that are completed, a giant increase compared to just 12 months ago. In contrast, again, if this number right here was absolutely surging this year, that'd be a very big red flag regarding our housing market for new home construction. But it has been relatively flat for about 6 months in a row right now, which is suggesting that new home sales are stabilizing, at least so far this year. Now, here's another way to look at this. Here's the month supply of completed houses only. 2.7 months this May. 1 year ago, it was 2.8 months, relatively flat compared to 12 months ago. Also, as you can see right here, the month supply of completed houses has been relatively flat all year. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What's your biggest takeaway from today's video? Mine is this giant surge in home sales we saw in May, well above expectations of 675,000. It came in at 763,000, a 20% increase compared to May last year. Absolutely insane. But again, this is really due to the fact we have a lack of homes for sale in the resale market, and also, of course, because builders are offering incentives still to home buyers in order to increase home sales. But what's your biggest takeaway? Please leave a comment below. Also, if you guys want a real estate agent referral, check out the link below, which is homeandmoney.com/Jason to get started today. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.